Welcome to this tutorial, 1 great finding and 4 ways to use it. I don't know about you, but it's always been very difficult to find interesting earring findings. We see the usual wire with the loop and the coil everywhere, but they add very little to a design. I guess the most one might say about them is that they're so common you don't see them at all. Anyway, I'm always on the hunt for interesting findings, and this particular earring finding is the result of that hunt. It's a very simple thing, sleek and elegant and versatile. So let's get started. Here is a page with the 4 ways I'll show you. We'll start with the most basic, the original intent of the finding designer. We'll then explore the unintended ways in the last 3 uses. We'll be bending wire, so in order to prevent damage to the wire, cover the flat nose pliers with gaffers or duct tape as shown. Here is the finding. On the left you see the side view with the opened loop, and on the right the view from the front. I do my best to cull any damaged findings from the lot, but the good ones are frequently off-kilter. There's nothing wrong with them, they've just been twisted in handling and shipping. The wire, when viewed from the front, may not be perfectly aligned, so you may have to straighten the finding before you do anything else. Use the flat nose of the pliers to grasp the wire, and when pinching, most of the time kinks or bends will be straightened out. If you have a distinct bend, then address that with the tip of the pliers. Watch the video that follows. We'll begin with the most basic, the original intended use of the finding designer. I call this one Dangle Dangle. The loop must be completely closed so that a dangle doesn't just slide off. On the left you see the opened loop. If you simply tried to push it back to the finding, most likely you'd still have a gap. The best way is to take your round nose pliers and bend the loop down alongside the side of the finding. You're basically overbending it. Then take your pliers and move the tip of the wire back onto the finding. Watch the video that follows. Now just add the dangle and the earrings are finished. The next use is Dangle Dangle 2, in which any solid, thin shape with a hole can turn into a dangle off of the finding. The loop must be straightened and it must form a 90-degree angle with the finding. First, insert the flat-nosed pliers into the loop and straighten it. Then grasp the wire and bend it straight out to form that 90-degree angle. Watch the video that follows. I've cut 2 slices off of a cane I have. I rolled them through a medium thin or number 4 setting of my pasta machine. I then cut them to form 2 spear shapes. I don't want the tips of the spears to hit the wire and impede motion and swing, so I'll cut them. With your needle tool, pierce 2 holes very close to the edge of the cut tips as shown. Lay the pieces on a ceramic tile and cure them following manufacturer's recommendations. With a hand drill, my drill bit measures 1.5 millimeters. Drill both holes. On the far right, you can see that I chose to sand the points off the spears to round them off. Thread a clay piece onto one of the findings. With your flat nose pliers, bend the wire up as shown on the right. Now grip both the wire and the front of the finding with your flat nose pliers and squeeze to close the tip of the wire to the back of the finding. Look at it from the side. Now you're done. The next 2 ways are embedding the wire in clay. Now there are 2 ways to do this. You can embed the loop as it is. You can see this on the left. Note the position of the pod on the finding. The second way is to embed a straight wire, which you see on the right. This results in a pod that hangs lower from the finding. Try both methods and see which works best for you. First, let's embed the loop. Now close the loops of the finding, then make 2 matching pods. With a rolling tool, roll at one tip to create a rounded indent. Here you see the front and the side after rolling the indent. This indent will make it easier for the clay to conform to the shape of the finding. With your blade, cut a slit into the indent. This slit will accept the loop. Now apply poly paste to the loop. The paste will help fill the loop when it's pushed into the clay, and it'll minimize movement of the loop in the clay. Now push the loop into the slit. Inspect the pod and make sure it's jutting straight out from the finding. Clean up the excess poly paste with a clean brush. On the right you can see mine. I chose to texture the surface with a medium ball stylus. Now nest them both in baking soda and cure following manufacturer's recommendation. Watch the video that follows for the process. Now we'll embed the wire in clay using method 2. It's the straight wire embed. Follow the instructions in Embed Method 1 so the wire juts straight out from the finding. Now grip the wire with your flat nose pliers and slowly bend the wire straight down. Watch the video that follows. Make 2 matching clay pods and roll one end to form the indent. With the needle tool, pierce a hole into the pod as shown. Now push the wire into the hole. Inspect the side. There's a large gap between the clay and the finding here. We've got to push the clay up to the wire and close this gap. With a spoon tool, stroke the clay, pushing it from here to here. Watch the video that follows. Nest them in baking soda and cure following manufacturer's recommendations. After these have been cured and are cool, check to see if the wire is loose. Is the clay moving? If so, remove them from the wire, then apply a bit of CA glue and push them back in. Now mine are secure. The clay that I pushed around the bend has secured them in the clay, so there was no need to apply glue. I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial on a very versatile and nice looking finding. For Prairiecraft and Craft Art EDU, I'm Donna Cato.